Some people like to flaunt their wealth, but these people took things a bit too far, like the driver of this golden Lamborghini. Let's take a look at the top 15 biggest things made out of gold. Number 15. The 1-ton Australian Kangaroo gold coin. Throughout history, civilizations have cast coins from gold because of its value to create something portable that can be exchanged for goods. But in 2011, a wholly impractical but astonishing golden coin was made by the Australian Mint. Every year since 1989, a new design within the Kangaroo bullion series has been released, but the special one-off that was cast to break the world record was truly something else. Known as the 1-ton Australian Kangaroo gold coin, it weighed 1 metric ton, which is the equivalent to 1.10 short tons in the US. Made up of 99.99% pure gold, the intent was to highlight the Kangaroo series to the rest of the world. And it wasn't long until it officially was crowned the largest gold coin to ever be produced. At 31.5 inches wide and almost 5 inches thick, it has an image of Queen Elizabeth II on the front and a picture of a red kangaroo in the back along with the year 2012. It's technically legal tender in Australia with a face value of 1 million Australian dollars, but the sheer amount of gold used to make it means it's far more valuable. Recent estimates put it to around 50 million Australian dollars, which is the equivalent to just over 36 million US dollars. And it certainly put the Australian Mint on the map as one of the most inventive coin makers in the world. Number 14. The Golden Lake Hotel. Vietnam has some of the poorest citizens on Earth, but in an attempt to distract visitors from that fact and to offer a unique place to stay when visiting the capital city, Hanoi, a brand new hotel opened in July of 2020, which claimed to be the world's first to be fully gold-plated. Yeah, that's right, everything inside the Golden Lake Hotel is covered with real gold, from the lobby ceiling, the toilets, the shower heads, and the elevators. It took 11 years to build at an estimated cost of $200 million, and there's no doubt that the result is an ode to extravagance. More than 54,000 square feet of gold-gilded ceramic was used on the building exterior to ensure that its sparkle could be seen from far away. But just as much was used inside, too. The tiles around the pool are gold. There are gold bathtubs, kettles, door handles, and garbage bins, and the restaurant serves gold-themed food, some of which actually contain particles of gold. Perhaps the most surprising thing about the hotel is what it costs to stay there, though. You might expect rooms to only be available to the most wealthy of guests, but with rooms starting at just $250 per night, their intent is for everyone to have a chance to stay. Only the more expensive rooms have movable gold objects, though. An inventory is carefully checked after you leave to make sure you haven't accidentally packed a valuable item. But the company that built it sourced all of the precious metal locally and boasts that it's for that reason that the cost of construction was kept so low. Number 13. Lamborghini. Supercars have for a long time been a way for people to show off to the world quite how wealthy they are. But what do you do if you want to prove that you're a cut above the rest? Well, the answer could be to gold plate your ride, just like several Lamborghini owners have decided to do. At a cost of between $5 and $6 million, the Lamborghini Aventador LP700-4 has a powerful 6.5-liter V12 engine that gives a top speed of 217 miles an hour. It can reach 60 miles an hour in just 2.9 seconds and has an average fuel economy of 17.7 miles per gallon. But the real standout feature of this vehicle is, of course, its shiny exterior. There's a debate as to whether it's gold-wrapped or gold-plated, which inevitably would have an effect on the price. And if it was the latter, then the weight of the metal would also likely have an impact on the car's speed and handling. This probably won't matter to the owner, though, because if you've gone to the expense and trouble to do this to your supercar, you're going to want to drive it slowly through town to make sure everyone sees it. Number 12. King Tut's Coffin. The discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb in 1922 by Harwood Carter remains one of the most important archaeological finds ever, both because of how intact the tomb was and the value of more than the 5,000 artifacts that were found inside. While most things were removed, the sarcophagus itself was left in the tomb in respect to the dead and from fear of repercussions from a curse, but it was studied in place and researchers couldn't believe what they found. Inside was not one, not two, but 3 coffins to hold his body. The outer 2 were made from wood and covered by a gold sheet, but the innermost coffin was fully made from thick sheets of beaten gold that are worth several $million. Despite the craftsmanship being second to none, the gold sheets had seen better days since they were made thousands of years ago. And recently, the sarcophagus and coffins were finally removed for restoration works. Eventually, the plan is for them to be put on display at the Grand Egyptian Museum in Cairo to give everyone a chance to see the stunning creation for themselves. Number 11. Gold bar. As such a valuable and sought-after material, people have long used various different ways of using gold to denote worth. On a smaller scale, it's used to make some coins, but if you want to store large amounts, then it's usually forged into easily manageable bars. A typical gold bar is impressive enough, with a weight of around 27.5 pounds. But in 2005, the Mitsubishi Materials Company in Japan set out to make the biggest one ever. Revealed in that year and currently on display at the Toy Gold Museum in the city of Izu, the result was unbelievable. The finished bar was 17.9 inches long, 8.9 inches wide, and 6.7 inches thick, and weighing a whopping 250,000 grams, which is the same as 551 pounds. To put that in perspective, this gold bar is heavier than an African lion. It's 2 inches longer than the largest ever human foot, and is twice the weight of a brand new refrigerator. With gold only having gone up in value since the bar was made, it's currently worth in the region of $16 million, so it's fortunate for the museum that it would prove quite tricky for any thieves to run away with. Number 10. Megayacht. Gold is a surprisingly heavy material compared to what you might expect, and if it wasn't for its huge price, it still wouldn't be useful for much, especially in construction. That didn't stop a boat manufacturer from finding a way to incorporate gold into their latest design, however, and the result was either the best-looking yacht ever built or the tackiest, depending on how you see it. Called the Kalila, it's actually the first yacht to have been completely made from carbon fiber, but instead of having an all-black exterior, the decision was made to cover it with a thin coat of gold paint that's made with actual gold. With twin custom diesel engines, the boat has a cruising speed of 25 knots and has an impressive range that allows it to cross the Atlantic without refueling. Inside there are 2 master suites, 2 guest cabins, a sky lounge, a dining area, and accommodation for 9 crew members. As you'd expect, the interior decor is also covered with gold, including the cutlery, the crockery, the artworks, and even the bed sheets have gold woven into them. Number 9. Taj Mahal. The Taj Mahal has been one of the most recognizable buildings in the whole world ever since it was commissioned in 1632 and constructed over the following 20 years. 20,000 skilled artists were brought in to work on the marble mausoleum, which would cost almost $1 billion to build today, and it's now one of the most popular tourist attractions on the planet. One of the most well-known parts of the building is the gilded spire on the top, which is known as a finial. It's the bit that people pretend to grab hold of in photos, and acts as a shining beacon that can be seen from all around. Nowadays, the finial depicts a moon which is pointing towards the sky and is made from beaten bronze. This wasn't always the way, though, and until the early 1800s, it was made from solid gold. The switch was made because of the Raj at the time feared it would be stolen by British colonizers or other troops who had stolen more easily accessible valuables from the site, and the original was melted down to make other items for the Indian royalty. We are constantly adding more people to the Top 5's production team to bring you all the best content. Be sure to subscribe with notifications on and hit the like button. Number 8. Shirt. While many people may like buying gold because of the way it makes them feel, and because it adds some sparkle to their lives, there are plenty who buy as much of it as possible to show off their wealth to everyone else. Probably the most ridiculous example of this was revealed in 2013, when an Indian man showed his brand new gold shirt to the world. Datta Fuga, whose nickname was the Gold Man, was known for making his fortune as a moneylender, and would always be seen wearing chunky chains and various other gold trinkets. The $250,000 shirt was a step up even for him, and involved hiring a team to learn how to first turn gold into a usable thread, and then to create a design that would be practical to wear. It took 16 people 15 days to create, and used a total of 7.2 pounds of pure gold. Even though it might look like a normal shirt, it's far from it, and it's quite heavy and clunky. Furthermore, it can't be washed, so Fuga only wore it occasionally to prevent it from getting too dirty or sweaty. Number 7. Supermodel Statue. Rightly or wrongly, there are those around the world who worship the ground that supermodels walk upon. And based on their ability to wear clothes designed by other people, they are the muses of some of the most creative people on Earth. There's no doubt that, throughout history, beautiful women have been at the center of some of the most influential events or artistic pursuits, such as Helen of Troy and Mona Lisa. And it's possible that the British supermodel Kate Moss should be added to that list. In 2006, British sculptor Mark Quinn revealed his latest creation called Sphinx. It was a bronze statue of Kate Moss wearing a leotard and performing a complicated yoga pose with her feet and hands behind her head. While making it, the sculptor used a more adept yoga practitioner to hold the pose, but added precisely measured features from Kate Moss to make it accurately reflect her figure. The statue was such a success that just 2 years later, the British Museum contacted Quinn to commission a second version of the statue, but wanted this one to be made from solid gold. The result was a piece called Siren, which is in exactly the same form as Sphinx, but is made from a much heavier and more valuable material, and is now on display at the museum. It's life-size based on Moss's proportions and is believed to be the biggest solid golden statue to have been made since the time of the Egyptians. Number 6. Darth Vader. Ginza Tanaka is a Tokyo-based jewelry store that's known for making unusual objects from gold. In recent years, they've recreated Ultraman's face and even made a replica of Lionel Messi's foot from the valuable metal. But their most famous creation is the life-size replica they made of Darth Vader's mask. Star Wars merchandise is often expensive enough in the first place before deciding to make it from something like gold. But at a price of $1.4 million, it's money well spent for such a unique item. It was made to honor the 40th anniversary of the first Star Wars movie and took the talents of 10 goldsmiths to make the designs into reality. The final version weighs 33 pounds, is made from 24-karat gold, but before you start strengthening your neck muscles to put this on, it's not actually designed to be worn. In fact, transporting the mask is tricky enough, and the jewelers warned that if anyone decided to buy it, it would take them 3 months to deliver it because of how carefully it would have to be disassembled and put back together. Number 5. The Golden Toilet. The Italian artist Maurizio Cattelan has made a name for himself in recent years because of his unusual pieces. He's the man behind the artwork that consisted of a banana stuck to a wall with tape, a sculpture of the Pope who had been hit by a meteorite, and perhaps most famously a piece entitled America, which was a toilet made from solid gold. It was first displayed in 2016 at the Guggenheim Museum in New York and has been meticulously crafted at a foundry in Florence, Italy, where several parts were made individually and then welded together. Rather than just being something to look at, the toilet is fully functioning. And when it was in New York, more than 100,000 people queued for it to have a go for themselves. In total, 227 pounds of gold was used to make the toilet, which in late 2019 would have been worth about $4 million if it was melted down. But the artwork itself has valued around $6 million. Famously, in 2017, when the White House asked to loan a Van Gogh painting from the museum, the request was denied, and the America toilet was offered instead. In September of 2019, the toilet was moved to a new location and was installed in Blenheim Palace, the birthplace of Winston Churchill, in Oxfordshire, England. It was again a major draw for the stately home. Within weeks, however, despite it being fully plumbed in, the toilet was stolen from the property, and still to this day the thieves haven't been caught, although there are some that believe Maurizio Cattelan himself was responsible for removing it. Number 4. Coffins. Not to be mistaken for the name given to benefits package that high-ranking executives often have written into their contracts if they die while working for a company, golden coffins are becoming increasingly popular with people who want to take some of their wealth to the other side. Cultures have for millennia believed that burying people with valuable items will help them succeed in the afterlife, and this is possibly just a large-scale extension of this. Michael Jackson was supposedly buried in a coffin lined with gold, and in 2011, Zsa Zsa Gabor reportedly had a coffin made at a cost of $40,000 that was plated with 24-karat gold. Still, this pales in comparisons with coffins that are made completely from gold. And as long as you're willing to pay for one, it's surprisingly easy to get a hold of one. The Malaysian 14-karat solid gold coffin is not only the perfect send-off, but is also the most expensive coffin that money can buy. With a starting price of $217,000, even the bedding inside has gold lining. But while this may sound like a lot of money, with burial plots at the Forest Lane Memorial Park in Hollywood Hills costing upwards of $825,000, it's hardly too much of an expense for some people. Number 3. 747 Interior. Brunei's Sultan Haji Hassan al-Bolkiah Muzaddin Wadaullah is purportedly worth around $40 billion, and as you'd expect, he doesn't go anywhere without being surrounded by extravagant luxury. He's a particular fan of gold and is known for having a fleet of gold-plated cars, but his most impressive golden possession is his Boeing 747 jumbo jet. The plane itself isn't made from gold, although he certainly would have done this if the metal wasn't too heavy and soft to be used in that way. But that didn't stop him from decorating virtually the whole of the interior with it. While the jet itself cost $400 million, a further $120 million was spent on decoration, and this includes solid gold wash basins, a living room, a bedroom, and a bathroom that are painted with gold. There are golden details in every place imaginable, including on the switches that are used to recline the chairs, around the edges of mirrors, within the seams of the bed linen, along with the wood paneling that lines the corridors on the jet, and of course all of the cutlery and crockery that food is served on. While these may not be large golden objects in themselves, the sheer quantity of gold that's on board this jet at any one time means that the Sultan is essentially carrying out his own golden palace wherever he goes, and it's undoubtedly the most expensive and lavish mode of transport in the world. Number 2. Christmas tree. For those who celebrate it, Christmas is the most wonderful time of the year, but can also be an incredibly expensive one. From the need to buy presents, transport costs for family members to visit, and the huge amounts of food that'll be consumed, the last thing anyone needs is extra expenses during this time. But in 2016, the Ginza Tanaka luxury jewelers in Tokyo, Japan, came up with the perfect way to celebrate the holidays in style. They put a solid gold Christmas tree on display to celebrate the 90th anniversary of the store. At an estimated cost of $1.8 million, the only material used in its construction was gold. But they were very clever about how they did it. They started with 42 pounds of precious metal and hammered and processed it into wire that was just 0.04 inches thick. This allowed them to twist it into a shape of a Christmas tree that was 6.5 feet tall and finished it off with a solid golden star at the top, along with smaller golden star decorations on each level. While the tree was for sale, the main intent, according to the manager of the store, was to bring some Christmas cheer and sparkle after a particularly tough year for the world. And in the end, there were no takers for what would have been the most expensive private Christmas tree on Earth. Number 1. The Golden Buddha. Of all the objects in the world that are made of gold, the most impressive, largest, and the one with the greatest story behind it is the Golden Buddha that can be seen in the Temple of Wat Primet in Bangkok, Thailand. Pictures of the statue hardly do it justice, but at 9.8 feet tall and with a weight of just over 6 US tons, it's easily worth in excess of $450 million. The gold that makes up the body of the statue is 40% pure, while that used in the chin and the forehead is 80% pure. And the gold used in the hair and the top knot, which itself weighs almost 100 pounds, is 99% pure. The Buddha is in the traditional Bhumishparsha Mudra pose, touching the earth with the right hand, but for a long time, no one knew that this masterpiece even existed. Its origins are uncertain too, but it's thought that the statue was created at some point during the Sukhothai dynasty between the 13th and 14th century. There are a couple of writings from that time that, under certain interpretations, seem to mention a golden Buddha that was once displayed in the center of Sukhothai city, and it appears as if it was moved to Ayutthaya fairly soon after it was first revealed. Being made from such a precious substance, there were clearly concerns about thieves or invaders trying to either steal the whole statue or to break off parts of it, so a plan was conceived to hide the Buddha's true nature. It was covered in a thick layer of stucco, which was then painted and decorated with pieces of colored glass, and as a result it lay in the ruins of Ayutthaya after the city was destroyed by Burmese forces. The statue, still covered in the stucco, was transported to Bangkok, where it was put on display in the mid-19th century, and it became so popular that in 1954 a new building was constructed solely with the purpose of housing it. It was during the move in 1955 that the world saw the truth behind the statue once more, when due to an accident when lifting it into place on ropes, the statue fell to the ground and chipped. Some of the gold was seen for the first time in centuries, and the decision was soon made to remove the entire coating to reveal the fully golden statue, something that was seen as miraculous at the time because it happened almost 2,500 years since the passing of Gautama Buddha. Subscribe to Top 5s for more and check out some of our other popular videos.